Good afternoon. It is still 1:11. And welcome. My name is Tammy Dollar-Coleman, and this is Greg Dollar-Coleman. And on behalf of Ryleigh's mom and family, we are honored to have been asked to host the celebration of life. We knew Ryleigh through Victoria School of the Arts, I as her principal, and Greg as her teacher and friend. Whether you are in this room or watching online, we hold this time and place as a vessel where we pause with each other to grieve profound loss of Ryleigh's life and to share our sadness for all that death brings. And even as we do so, we recognize death is only the occasion that gathers us. Life is the reason we are here together. We are here to find comfort in memories, to express and share our gratitude, and to lean into the strength of who we are as a community, to allow our hearts to speak of our love for an incredibly beautiful young woman.
And we gather in this place with a deep respect for the land we acknowledge, and in doing so honor the story and ancestral lands of our Indigenous peoples, the first to learn the wisdom, rhythms, and medicines of this land, and teachings that many of us through generations of migration have each come to call home. As we sat in the space of imagining how we might best design today, we listened for imagery that we might draw around us. Imagery that might speak for, of, and to Ryleigh. We remembered her love of family, of friends, nature, and art. We saw inspiration and story from those who knew her most intimately and who knew how much it fueled her to bring joy to others. And we trusted in the wisdom of her own words that may have originated as mere thought scribblings, but now speak of a clarity of heart and mind that was nothing short of profound. And to further punctuate her presence, Tammy and I arrived on Saturday and you today to this room to discover that values that Ryleigh held dear are already here, wrapping around us on the walls like her big, beautiful hug. Nature, joy, gratitude, love, resilience, prosperity, oneness, kindness, beauty, and peace.
When you arrived this afternoon, you may have been gifted a small heart-shaped stone. Heart stones hold a very special place in my life, so I was very surprised, it was a really lovely surprise, to discover from Shauna that she and Ryleigh shared the same love. Finding and treasuring heart stones whenever and wherever they came upon them. We invite you to hold this stone today as a physical reminder of Ryleigh's heart and the presence of her energy. The energy living within each of us. This stone speaks to Ryleigh's appreciation of beauty in all things and to her commitment to be the rock to anyone that needed her to be so.
The heart itself is the instrument of life, literally and figuratively. The heartbeat connects us to one another, and in this time and space invites a collective strength to support us in what a dear friend we call the places and spaces before, beneath, and beyond words. The double beat, loved up, loved up, loved up, or to Ryleigh, a lover of Shakespeare's iambic measure. I am, is the very rhythm of life. How beautiful that Shauna captured and still possesses a recording of her own heartbeat alongside Ryleigh's during an early ultrasound. May the sound of the heartbeat paired with the heartstone that you might hold remind us that Ryleigh's huge and loving heart continues to beat as long as we hold her in our own.
And finally, the breath. Transformative experiences like grief have the power to take our breath away quite literally. And today, there may be moments when you sense this is taking place. For those of you who will be speaking this afternoon, know that collectively, we will hold you and we will breathe with you. We will be right alongside of each breath you take and those you still may need to take. We will wait for that deep inhale. And we invite you to really quiet your mind and trust that your heart knows what to say. In the ever-creating energy in which we live and die, we celebrate the gift of life and honor the mystery of death. We come into this circle of grief and gratitude with hearts broken open by love and by loss. Together, may we seek the courage to mourn and to celebrate, to laugh and to cry, to be alone with our thoughts and to lean into the strong fabric of this community. Today we gather here as a family and friends from the overlapping circles in which Ryleigh gifted her love. May we trust the circle of life as we are held in the truth that death does not have the last word, because love lasts forever.
Ryleigh loved the inclusivity felt in a circle, in a drama room, or a rehearsal hall. And while you're not able to sit in the circle today, you may have noticed that we're seated upon a labyrinth, which, like the circle, is understood to be an ancient symbol of wholeness. Labyrinths have proven to have the ability to quiet the mind, and as we sit together, we hope that your minds and hearts will find some calm in the storm of grieving. It's been said that the journey of walking a labyrinth becomes a metaphor for one's grief. But feelings of not knowing the way, of feeling lost, or simply feeling as though no progress is being made are common in grief and in walking the labyrinth. In the design of the labyrinth, what might appear an ending can also, though, be held as a beginning. And while we are not able to physically walk the labyrinth today, we hope that its presence underneath us might serve to remind us that the journey we walk in processing this loss of a life, a young life, a loved life, is ours to take, and that we are the ones to best choose each footstep.
Today is not only a day for grief, but also deep gratitude. For Ryleigh's light in the world, for her creativity and compassion, her kindness and sense of fairness, her intuition and her intellect, her love of family and friends, her love of learning, and her delight in bringing magic to life on stage.
Hers was indeed a shining light, one that burned brightly, inviting others to feel its warmth, while also serving her to light her own path from the known to the unknown. This quality was one amongst many that captured the heart of one of her theatre mentors, Scott Swan. Scott and his wife Cheryl are currently in England, but has asked that it be known that his heart is here today. He has asked me to share a poem that he wrote to honor Ryleigh, titled "The Gift of Your Light." There's a light burgeoning from the center of your being, illuminating your soul for all to see. It's the light of your heart, your mind, your spirit, your vulnerability, your compassion, and your love. And when we're close, christened in the courage of that light, we sense what it is to be alive and present in this universe and know it in ourselves. By your light, we see ourselves illumined. And this is the gift of your light. There's a light radiating from the center of your being, illuminating the world for all to see. It's the light of your wonder, your creativity, and your passion. And when we're close, exalted by the radiance of that light, we sense what it is to be of value and purpose in this universe, and know it beyond space and time. By your light, we see the world illumined. And this as well is the gift of your heart. There's a light exploding from the center of your being, illuminating each one of us for all to see. And when we are close, melded in the unity of that light, we sense what it is to be alone together in this universe. And we know it in the other. By your light, we see each one of us illumined, and this, most of all, is the gift of your light. Memory is one of our great treasures in life, and by the power of memory, we're able to bring the past to the present and carry it forward into the future. Memory is held in our senses. The smell of the soil after a summer rain. The intoxicating mix of hope, anticipation, thrill, and a bit of terror of standing in the wings. The intoxicating mix of hope. Listening to the chatter of an audience. Moments before the curtain goes up. Or the invigorating feeling as the images of a poem blow in on the wind and through you onto a crisp, blank, and waiting page. I imagine that these might have been amongst sensory memories that Ryleigh knew intimately. And each of us We'll have our own exquisite relationship with the moments that became memories in our relationships with her. Be it the sight of something you know Ryleigh would have loved, the sound of a piece of music that would have made her heart soar, a taste she would have savored, an adventure that would have inspired her curiosity, or an exchange shared between you both that was sure to bring a smile to her face, or a laugh from her belly, or simply a phrase that only a laugh could make.
And the true magic of our memories lies in their being conduits to Ryleigh to stay present in our lives, even after death. And how wonderful it has been to witness the intentionality of Shauna in preparing for today. To continue to listen for and trust in Ryleigh's thumbs up, you got this, Mom. It's our hope that this acknowledgement of the very real presence of Ryleigh's energy might allow us to hold to the belief that even as we cherish memories gone by, we are, in this moment, making new ones to strengthen our love for her as we move forward. We invite you to take a moment to sit with your own memories of Ryleigh as we listen to a song called I Remember, sung by Sage Jepson. Sage, who would desperately have loved to have been here today, remembers Ryleigh for the effortless love of inspiring and holding space for younger artists to thrive.
All I can say is thank you, Ryleigh. I remember every word, every joke, every story that she had said to me, especially in moments of uncertainty and moments of play and moments of discovery. She was always the first person to reinforce me and reinforce others, and she just had this beautiful aura that I will always remember. And she always encouraged me to play and to continue playing. And I'm going to do that for the rest of my life. And I hope that others do that as well. This is I Remember from Evening Primrose, a Stephen Sondheim musical. The last show that I did with her was West Side Story. And I will remember Ryleigh for many, 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 many years to come. So, thank you, Ryleigh. I remember sky. It was blue as ink. At least I think I remember sky. I remember snow, soft as feathers, sharp as thumbtacks, coming down like lead, and it made you squint when the wind would blow, and ice like vinyl on the streets, cold as silver, white as sheets, rain like streets, and changing things like leaves. I remember leaves, green as spearmint, crisp as paper. I remember trees, their coconuts spread like broken umbrellas. and parks and bridges, ponds and zoos, ruddy faces, ruddy shoes, light and noise and beats and boys and days. I remember days, or at least I try. As years go by, there are sort of days, and the bluest ink. Is it really sky? And at times I think I would gladly fly for a day of sky.
Death has a way of sifting the essential from the important, and the important from the trivial. Through our tears, we are able to see what really matters. And so we gather knowing that death wasn't just something that happened. Ryleigh's life, though shorter than hoped and longed for, was not incomplete. She mirrored the gift of having been given breath. By the love she planted in the world and the care and compassion that she brought to so many, and those who know her well will know how she loved being surrounded by nature, lost in its beauty, and finding joy at home with her mom, Shauna, and her grandparents, Henry and Dawn, who we now invite to come up and share some thoughts.
Well, it's pretty awesome to see all of you here today. Thank you all for coming. I want to share a story about Ryleigh that shows her unique gift of love performing. When Ryleigh was 5 years old, we were reading a book called Praying in the Bible, and we're talking about memorizing Revelation chapter 4, verses 1 to 11. This is a chapter that talks about God's throne room and mentions lots of fascinating creatures around the throne. We were all sitting around the table one evening, and I said I'd like to read something that you've probably never heard before, Revelation 4, 11. So Ryleigh says, "Oh, Papa, I know that one." She had heard us talking about memorizing it, and decided she wanted to memorize it as well. Sean and Ryleigh worked on it together. One day, for show and tell, 5-year-old Ryleigh got up in front of the class and quoted the entire chapter, much to the amazement of her teacher and classmates. I would like to honor Ryleigh today and read it to you as well. After this I looked, and there before me was a door standing open in heaven. And the voice I had first heard speaking to me like a trumpet said, "Come up here, and I will show you what must take place after this." At once I was in the Spirit, and there before me was a throne in heaven, with someone sitting on it. And the one who sat there had the appearance of jasper and carnelian, a rainbow resembling an emerald encircled the throne. Surrounding the throne were 24 elder thrones, and seated on them were 24 elders. They were dressed in white and had crowns of gold on their heads. From the throne came flashes of lightning, rumblings, and peals of thunder. Before the throne, 7 lamps were blazing. These are the 7 spirits of God. Also before the throne, there was what looked like a sea of glass, clear as crystal. At the center around the throne were 4 living creatures. They were all covered with eyes in front and in back. The first living creature was like a lion. The second was like an ox. The third had a face like a man, and the fourth was like a flying eagle. Each of the four living creatures had 6 wings, and was covered with eyes all around, even under his wings. Day and night they never stopped saying, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come. Whenever the living creatures give glory and honor and thanks to him who sits on the throne and who lives forever and ever, the 24 elders fall down before him who sits on the throne and worship him who lives forever and ever. They lay their crowns before the throne and say, You are worthy, our Lord and God, to receive glory and honor and power. For you created all things, and by your will they were created and have their being. Thank you.
I'm Shauna. And first, I want to let you know I forgot one of my drawings today, which was to keep you up our drawing. They are here, and you are welcome to help yourself to one on the back table, where the candle is now burning. My greatest honor and joy was bringing Ryleigh into this world and being her mom. My Ryleigh, I am beyond grateful that you chose me to be your mama in this life. You, my precious angel, are my greatest teacher and my greatest love. The two of us are very much nature girls, so we spent a lot of time outside. Ryleigh was deeply connected to the land she grew up on, the trees, the grasses, the rocks, the wild animals. Trees and rocks were meant to be climbed, lazed around on top of, and to hug. Small rocks were meant to be turned over. Who was living underneath them? Ryleigh lived at one with the elements. I recall one time she was just learning to walk, and we were in Scotland, and on a particularly blustery day, the wind kept knocking her on her butt. But she would just giggle and giggle and get back up, and knock her down and back up, over and over. Somewhere around the age of 7, she heard the story about Jesus calming the stormy waters, and thought she'd try it herself on a super windy day at recess. Sure enough, though, when she told that wind to stop, it did. How much fun to be so connected with energy. Flash rainstorms spurred her to run outside, maybe even put a swimsuit to joyfully play in the torrents of water. There was no running in when the rain came up for her. Afterwards, she'd go looking for the biggest, as she called them, muddle puddles to splash them. Water in a stream, a river, a lake, an ocean. It was meant to go into no matter the season. Thunder and lightning sparked her spirit to life. Fire, she loved a good campfire, or candlelight, or a pack of matches, just to strike. Driving into Revelstoke one day to visit her uncle, and the thrill of seeing a wild horse fire on a mountain range and playing in the ashes falling from the sky at a music festival, like snowflakes, just gave her absolute joy. There is something about the messiness, the rawness, sometimes chaotic, but absolute beauty of nature that matched the depth and the intricate subtlety, the beauty and glorious intensity in Ryleigh. If you know Ryleigh, you know her connection with animals. I was so blessed to be able to raise her where I did with my parents who welcomed us. Ryleigh grew up with horses and her own pony. She loved having her friends over to ride Morning Glory, to climb the hay bales, and explore in the woods. She raised chicks into hens that followed her around. There were many cats who were her friend. And of course our chihuahuas, Skookum and Sophie, they grew up together. Ryleigh's so creative, and it was so much fun nurturing the artistic side of her in music, dance, theater, film, photography, you name it. It probably all started in kinder music classes when Ryleigh was just a few weeks old. She took to the stage like a natural, with many performances at Festival Place in her younger years. She graced the stage at the Citadel. Along the way was in film projects here and there, and of course in her high school, Victoria School of the Arts. As you can see today, her teachers, her mentors, her friends from this special place left their mark in Ryleigh's life, and she in theirs. The two of us had many road trips and adventures together, especially in our years of natural schooling. Sometimes we went with family, sometimes with friends. Some of you are here today. We met up with friends, but a lot of time it was just us with our dog Skookum, and later with Sophie. I am so thankful now that we had all that precious time together that a lot of people don't. Our last road trip together was at the beginning of March 2020, when we made the trek across Canada with her hamster Darnell. You can't take a hamster on an airplane, so we do it. Her plan was to start fresh in a new city, get a job, and make some new friends before going to Ryerson to pursue a degree in performance production. Well, the day her U-Haul pod arrived in Toronto was the same day Ontario declared a state of emergency over COVID. Not the best timing to look for work and then start a hands-on style degree when the world was on lockdown. Fortunately, in December 2020, Ryleigh was able to find full-time essential work at a place called Penguin Pickup with a team of people who truly cared and loved her. You'll see later that she made quite an impression with them. To be brave and courageous. This is what Ryleigh's name means, and this is what she embodied. We lived through some really challenging times. We had some intense periods of being stalked, which is no way to live. I had an aggressive advanced cancer, and so Ryleigh, from the age of 10, saw me really sick and struggling over long periods of time, in and out of being closer to death than life, for years, to be honest, before I got a handle on my healing. Ryleigh herself also had health challenges and had her own brush with death, spending her 16th birthday in the ICU recovering from septic shock. When she walked out of that hospital, she was so relieved to see the trees with new leaves, the green grass, the fields, her dogs and her horses. She kept saying, "I'm alive! I'm alive! Mama, your girl's alive!" So there's a certain strength and depth of understanding and compassion that can develop from these experiences, though, and this certainly happened for Ryleigh. She had wisdom beyond her years, and she had an awareness of the fragility of life that not a lot of people her age have. I want to address her passing. As you may be aware, as me again, my brother did everybody. Ryleigh had experienced tremendous losses and trauma in the months prior. She was in the deepest grief of her life after her boyfriend Jesse's unexpected passing, and in the most vulnerable stage with complex PTSD. She was essentially alone from her support systems, living on the other side of Canada from me, her family, and her closest friends. But she really was trying to help herself. 2 weeks prior to her transition into the heavenly realms, she bought an SUV so she could have enough room to road trip, to move, to carry set pieces for the theater kids that she envisioned herself teaching in a small Alberta town. She found a therapist she resonated with and had sessions booked into November. She brought home 2 new pets on the Monday, Madagascar hissing cockroaches. And they had quite the royal setup, thereby being named the Count and Countess. It's so right. And this pair gave her some hope and delight. Creatures that cruise around at night making sounds, so she'd have company in those hours. But the despair she was feeling was getting overwhelming. She'd gone to a medical doctor for help, but it was challenging not having a family doctor in Toronto. And she was denied the type of help that she sought. Immediately after Jesse's passing, she connected with some people from his life. One of whom, although initially trying to help each other, she started to feel responsible for, and it's whom she had the most contact with. It matters who you spend time with, you guys. Who you let into your life, what they do, and what their habits are. It influences the choices you make. In the last days of Ryleigh's life, she sought some relief from her pain and took risks she would not normally take by accepting pills from someone else. I was told she'd had a couple of pills, but only one of those showed up in her system. The other, an anti-anxiety pill, was clearly not as labeled and was instead laced with a designer drug, essentially a poison that killed her. A poison the coroner told me is showing up in deceased people in recent months in the city. So now it all becomes real, right? It's not a statistic anymore, or a headline. This is our Ryleigh. It is important for you all to know that this was not an intentional act. And if any of you want to talk about this piece with me later, please come to me, get in touch with me. Let's talk about all of this, any part of it. Something good needs to come from all of this. What I want to reiterate is how important the company we keep is, especially when we are in a weakened and vulnerable state. How important it is to look out for our loved ones who are vulnerable, to step in and if and when we can, to help them when they aren't able to help themselves. How important it is to acknowledge when you're not doing okay, when you need help. How important it is to accept help in times of need. We can still be independent and strong and get help. It's a gift to ourselves and it is a gift to others. I am wanting to learn from this experience as well. What I am doing now is consciously allowing myself to receive from others in this time like no other for me. Where there are no words to describe the depth of pain that I am in. Just as there are no words adequate for the depth of love that I have for my daughter. The way Ryleigh's friends, her mentors and teachers, her colleagues, my friends and my family's friends and our extended family have stepped in and helped us out is beyond measure. And I thank you all for this. And I witness that for many, it is actually helpful in your healing process as well. It is really amazing for a mother to see the impact her daughter had with so many. A lot of people have traveled great distances to be here today, to support me and my family, to support each other, and to honor Ryleigh and the impact she had in their life. When the coroner asked me where I wanted my daughter's body sent after the autopsy, I knew exactly where it needed to go. To John Hart in Dunnville, Ontario. I met him when I was at his funeral home for Jessie's memorial. He'd come to know and love Ryleigh in her time of sorrow as she held Jess' memorial. John treated my daughter's body as if it were his own daughter, with tenderness, respect, sacredness, and beauty. She was presented like a beautiful Celtic maiden princess. I could not have asked for anything more, so thank you, John. To Ryleigh's friends, I thank you from the start of all of this for reaching out to her in her times of need and doing everything you could from no matter where you lived. From trying to be there with her in Toronto, to be willing to book flights for her to come home. I know there's more friends than I'm even aware of to name. I thank each of you. Thank you for checking in on me. It means everything to me to be connected with Ryleigh's friends. Thank you all for your contribution in making this service come together. Helping me scan photos, making the video that you'll see soon, putting an art table together, being my sounding board, and for participating in this celebration from your hearts. I've got some honorable mentions. Sarah, Quinn, Jillian, Lydia, thank you. Caitlin, there you are, but I thank you. David and Tom. Sage, thank you from New York. Thank you, that was really beautiful to hear your words and hear your song. I know how much Ryleigh loves you. And Aaron, thank you for your upcoming participation. To John Bodeveld in Toronto, thank you for being Ryleigh's confidant, for being instrumental in getting her help through her employment. Thank you to all of Penguin Pickup who made it happen for my brother and I while we were there and needed some help clearing up Ryleigh's apartment. Amazing teamwork. And Brad Baker for your quick action in setting up a scholarship in Ryleigh's meeting. Wow. Margot, wherever you are, thank you for your care in the rental of this center, for reassuring my parents and me along the way as we figured out where we wanted to hold the celebration and how we could make it work. You are a very gracious hostess. Thank you for being here today too. Greg and Tammy, Mother Colvin. Thank you for planning this event for Ryleigh with me. My whole family could not have done this without you, so I don't even have words. But my heart is full, knowing how much you love Ryleigh and how much she loved both of you in her years at Big and beyond. And Scott Swan, I know how much Ryleigh respected and loved you too, so I just so appreciate hearing your words, and you got it. I mean, that girl's the light. She is light, and I will so enjoy reading that over and over. And there's those I haven't even met until today that are coming to help us. Got Abby Witt up in the video projection, and with the live stream going around, and Chris Anderson. Thank you, you guys. I'm so grateful, so grateful. We had so many requests for people that couldn't be here to be able to join us live today, so thank you so much. And Nikki Toon, I don't know if you're here, but man, she is my soul sister who helped me put together the pamphlet about Ryleigh, and I just so appreciative. Also, she's so amazing at holding space for my debrief, so thank you. Steve Bell, who was on piano, and his bandmate from Calterra, Bonnie Bravery on violin. Thank you so much. It just set the tone, absolutely beautiful. Ryleigh and I first met the Bell family when we went to Kinder Music our girls, Violet and Ryleigh, were like babies, and they became best buds as they grew a little older. Steve wrote one of the songs he played today for Ryleigh called Riley's Dream. He said he felt Riley's presence while writing the song, and it just flowed effortlessly. And that just pleases my heart so much, because how much she loved music. And the first time I heard it 2 days ago, I closed my eyes, and I immediately could see Ryleigh twirling and dancing, and just whimsical. And she reached her hand out to mine and asked me to join her. So these are the moments with her now that I treasure. And all of the sunflowers you see here, and the flowers, they are gifted to us from a beautiful woman named Cecile that we met at the Shortcut Farmers Market back when I was really young. And those two had a really special connection. She always thought maybe one day Ryleigh would come and work with her in the sunflower fields and with her organic herbs. Cecile could feel Ryleigh's presence as she was planting and cutting these very flowers. And the rest of the grasses, trees, and wildflowers, they come from the land that Ryleigh loves so much and is so connected with where we live. Thank you to my Auntie Dennis, who made 111 cupcakes. I haven't seen them yet, but I know they're going to be decorated beautifully. So thanks. And the rest of our refreshments are provided by caring people who also knew Ryleigh. Kalina Family Catering. One of Ryleigh's work experiences was when she was 14. And she worked with Cindy Lazarenko in the Highlands School lunch program. She loved it there. And that summer, she worked for Brad Lazarenko in Kalina's Taste of Edmonton booth. Comment that I remember hearing that summer was, Ryleigh kicks ass. Whenever she goes out to sample the food, and we get lineups at our booth. She did have a way of making things appealing and so much fun. Ryleigh is so much fun. Ryleigh had an incredible presence, a powerful energy, a force to be reckoned with at times. While this life force no longer supports her body, her energy has not diminished. If anything, being no longer constrained by physicality, she's free to be the fullest expression of herself. And I am so grateful to be able to feel her expansiveness, her brightness, her immense love, and her heart. First day after Ryleigh's passing, I had a sleepless night of sorrow. I saw my parents going outside to feed the horses, and I thought it would be good for me to be with them, so I stepped outside. Remember earlier how I told you Ryleigh was playing with the wind? Well, I rounded the corner towards the horses, and all of a sudden, a wild wind picks up, and the trees are bending over, the sky darkens, and I'm like, what in the heck is happening? But I come out of the clearing, and the sky opens, I see the horses, and a rainbow forms right over top of them, only on our land. And I just like, Ryleigh? And a second one appears, a double rainbow, right there. And I just, I'm crying. I know it's her, and I'm crying, and I'm yelling her name, thank you. And as I acknowledge her, they fade slowly, one by one. It was absolutely amazing, and that was just the start of many magical rainbows at just the right time. My brother Kent came with me to Toronto to help me care for Ryleigh and her apartment. The 111s started showing up right away. Now, as a little backstory, Ryleigh and I, from the year 2008, started noticing 1111 on the clocks. We became aware of what some call angel numbers. The triple numbers, the ways God and Spirit, the angelic realm play and interact with us and give us signs and clues. Kent and I flew to Toronto late Halloween night, and after a few hours in the hotel, we started the drive to the funeral home in Dunville. The first license plate I saw, I noticed had a 111. I was in too much shock at first to notice the dates coming up, but they were a comforting surprise when I put it together. We had our sacred time with Ryleigh's body on November 1st, the 11th month, 111, at 11 o'clock. I was given 2 sets of death certificates. One dated November 1st, again, 111, and the second set, November 11th, 11/11. All of these in 2022, 222, and her cremation number ends in 222. It gets more interesting. Her time of death was called at 1:11 a.m. Eastern and 11:11 Mountain. Yep, these numbers have become one way that Ryleigh can let me know when she's with me, and Spirit lets me know we aren't alone. Our hotel room started with 111. A particularly special one for me was when I was telling Kent that I was wearing the cozy pajamas that Ryleigh had gotten for me the previous birthday. That night we booked into room number 1116. My birthday, November 16th. I laughed and I cried because I knew she'd heard me that morning. Another time, Kent picked up 3 pennies outside his car door and dropped them in the cup holder. I'm like, Kent, what? He said, 111. Anyways, I could go on and on, but I think you're all getting the picture of why I invited you here today at 111. The celebration would be held at no other time. It was mid-December, and I was trying to figure out what happened to my Rye. We still didn't know at that time. I was looking through some of her things, and good for her. She was journaling a lot of feelings, processing her thoughts. But my heart was absolutely broken for her, as I felt her despair. And the darkness had been working its way in. I noticed something in my periphery, but I'm so absorbed in what I'm reading, and I'm just wanting to finish the page. When I'm done, I realize that what I'm hearing is a songbird. Wait, what? A songbird? It's like the dead of winter. We don't have songbirds here, so I turn and look out my window, and at the tree right there is this medium-sized, brilliant green bird looking directly at me. Singing, singing, singing. And I know what's right. The song was glorious, and I know what she's telling me is, Mama, I can sing again. I'm free, and I'm happy, and I'm singing. You don't need to worry about me or be brokenhearted for me. My girl's okay. She's more than okay. I was having another moment a few months ago that I'd like to share with you. I was driving to Calgary, my first short time away since her passing. I get on the highway and I ask her if she's with me, considering we've done so much driving together. A kind of a doubt had crept into my thoughts, and so I'm asking her, do you even still want to be connected with me? And no kidding, my radio is like switching stations on me. And I hear Lionel Richie and Diana Ross's voices start singing Endless Love. My endless love. 2 hearts that beat as one. At the same time, as a car pulls in front of me with a license plate ending in 699. Now, I was born in 69. She was born in 99. So the 699 together, even our 9 was combined. And that was the first day that Ryleigh started using 99 and 69 to show she's with me and looking out for me. It was the icing on the cake when a few weeks ago I discovered a cassette tape I used to record Ryleigh's heartbeat in utero. At one point in that recording, my midwife says, do you hear that? That's your 2 hearts beating as one together. These things are so cool and it makes me so happy. And I love sharing them because it shows how Ryleigh is still very much alive and present here now, albeit not in the way we're used to. Maybe want her to be. And if it's okay, I'd like to share one more series of happenings that occurred just within the last week when I was at a retreat in Mount Shasta, California. Now last winter I started having visions from Ryleigh that she would meet me at a waterfall. So in Mount Shasta, we had excursions each day. The second day we were heading to a waterfall, and I just knew Ryleigh would show up, but I didn't know how. We're hiking down to the falls, and I'm walking with this beautiful, intuitive young woman who's telling me that Ryleigh's here. She's waiting for me at the falls. And And she's telling me how we have this connection with air and water. And then it dawns on me, I left my phone in the van with my camera. Like, how could I have done this? Because you often catch different dimensions in a digital camera. So I'm like, I want to see how she's showing up. So I started walking back up the hill, and the one man in our group, whose name is Wes, sees me and he says, "Stop, wait, I have a message for you. Your daughter says hi." And I said, "Okay." And he proceeds to tell me a dream that he had the night before. Now, to give a little bit of context, we'd come for this amazing evening on the mountain, and I won't go into all the details, but Wes actually captured quite a photo of Mary Magdalene, as she's known to be seen in her red dress. It's really wild. So in this dream he's having, he's with Mary Magdalene in what appears like a marketplace in India, and she's instructed him to cut red fabric from her dress to give to each woman in the marketplace. The downtrodden, the rich, the poor, etc. And he sees in one area, the light is beaming, like, oh, just beckoning him to come. And so he's drawn there, and he sees a beautiful young woman exuding all of this light. She's painting. She has many children gathered around her. And while she's painting, she's teaching them. And she's telling them stories, and they're all captivated. He gives her the square of red fabric, and she says, "Tell my mom hi, that I'm well and happy." He says, "Okay, who's your mom?" She says, "Shauna." Now, Wes in his dream, I've only met her before, he's kind of thinking, okay, if I happen to meet a Shauna in my dream, I'll tell her. "Oh, what's your name?" he asks. "Ryleigh." So in real life, he doesn't remember my name or that I have a daughter named Ryleigh until he sees me walking up the hill on the path away from the waterfall. And he goes on to describe this young woman. She's got true-colored hair. It's really light on top. It's dark on the bottom. And she's tall and slim. She's beautiful. She's wearing these flowing white fabrics. I'm like, that's my girl, let me show you. So these things, they touch me in my heart so deeply, and it excites me because it's like she's still fulfilling her mission, you know? She's still doing what she wanted to do here. Somehow it's working in the realm she's in. Well, down to the waterfall. There's a really cool, I get it as close as I can. I can't really get in behind as I can see in my vision, but I start to notice, like I'm feeling the mist coming. I start to notice a little bird. And this little bird is going in and out of the mist, and there's like some really heavy parts of the waterfall. So like this bird it's small, but what's it doing? It's going right in the heavy part. Like, and I look at the girl next to me, and I'm like, "Do you see that bird?" And because I'm thinking, is that Ryleigh making that bird go in and out? Anyways, the photo that's captured when I'm pointing is really cool. Wish I had it to show you, but it's got really cool balls of energy right where I'm pointing. Yes. Well, Ryleigh and I used to geocache together in different places wherever we traveled. If you haven't heard of this, it's a global treasure hunting app with clues and GPS coordinates. We love to get treasure hunt and mystery solve. I think she's having a lot of fun with me setting up spiritual treasure hunts like this one. Our last excursion on Shasta was a visit to a site called Pluto's Cave, and it's a series of ancient lava tubes. It's way off the beaten path, bumpy, hilly gravel roads in the high desert. At the first cave, I was interested in a pigeon I heard cooing because Ryleigh loved pigeons. There was a barn owl way up high, and I was trying to spot it. But as I'm leaving, the same girl I was saying, "Hey, do you see this?" What I didn't know at that time was that her mom passed about the same time as Ryleigh. And so I'm leaving with the first cave, and can you imagine the number that's spray painted on the entrance of this cave? 99. So I moved my way to the second cave, which was used for birthing life into this world, and also a space to hold for those leaving this world. Outside this cave is a big rock. Spray painted on this rock is the number 69. In this cave, we held ceremony, and I feel I was gifted a spiritual experience through time and dimension to be with Ryleigh as she passed from this realm to the next. Something I long to have been able to do with her. There was one more cave, and it's referenced as the Resurrection and Rebirth Cave. It has a steep, dark entry, and then in one area there's an opening up to the sky, and the sun beams in. If you climb up some rocks toward this lake and look back down, it feels like you're on a stage, a lit stage with a backdrop of rock. After we'd all had a turn on this natural stage, I was inspired to go back with Lauren, the woman who had lost her mother at the same time as I. Because I could feel her mom, and I could feel Ryleigh urging us to do this together. So we go up on this stage, and we have a heart-to-heart moment together. And then Lauren helps me climb up this vertical wall to touch a word that had been spray painted on this backdrop. So I grip this rock with the fingers of my right hand because I've got to reach really high. There's a little spot. You'd be way better at this twin than me. And Lauren supports my back so that I can reach the word that's on this side. So my hand gets up and I touch this word, and it is my daughter's name, Ryleigh, R-Y. And at the same time my hand touches her name, someone from down below yells, "Shauna, it's 111. I love this. And I love my girl, and you cannot make this stuff up. So I invite all of you to be open to connections, be aware of what's around you, look for the synchronicities, have fun, laugh together, love together, be together. Feel Ryleigh's heart with your heart. This is where the magic happens. And this is how Ryleigh gets to live on, through us and with us. I carry your heart in my heart, Ryleigh. I carry your heart always. I love all of you. I thank you for coming and sharing this day with me to celebrate and honor Ryleigh.
I was born a child of a married single mother, a paradox that took me a while to understand. I lived in the dreams outside of it. I lived in the classroom of course experience. I lived in the days of my life.
It's a beautiful thing to have the courage to act for love. Love is just a word until someone gives it meaning. It's not expedient, it takes time. It's not efficient, it takes energy. It's not instinctual, it is learned again and again and again. It is not impossible, it's just complicated. And it has been said that the first duty of love is to listen. And I love how Shauna is reminding us to continue to listen as her friends today are continuing to listen to Ryleigh's presence in this room. The audio was Ryleigh's choice for that video today. We loved that about her. She always found a way to get herself in and out of things that mattered to her. And she really did know how to listen. And being heard so close to being, and being heard really is so close to being loved. In fact, they're almost indistinguishable. To be heard is to be loved. Ryleigh was and remains a great teacher of the courage to act for love. She loved her friends ferociously. She loved being part of a wildly creative and playful community. And the friends gathered here today represent all those who knew and loved her. And now we invite a few of those friends to take some time to honor her memory.
Hello, everyone. And for those that do not know me, my name is Nadia Shore, and I was one of Ryleigh's friends from high school. Rye was my partner in many things, including shows, acting, stage managing, and also my partner in crime. Having Rye by my side made me feel invincible, as I knew that if she was there, then anything and everything could happen. The little moments when we shared something together, like a giggle, an inside joke, or a secret, were the most precious things in the universe, a treasure that rivals the finest jewels. She gave me so much, and I desperately wish I could fully give back to her. Rye was always an old soul, miles above the rest of us, with a maturity and insight of a wiser, more spiritual being or someone living in a higher dimension, not a teenager. This is reflected in her writing, and I have been lucky enough to have been gifted with one of her poems. She made this poem out to me, but I feel that this piece reflects so much more, specifically that time in our lives where the possibilities were endless, and the nuanced framing through which Ryleigh's rich spirit saw the world. Well, this is another gift that I will never be able to reciprocate. I would like to share it with all of you now. May 9th, 2017. I dreamt once of a woman built out of a hurricane. I saw her only as a figure against a wall of light. I saw her waist, her hair tossed back and restrained save for 2 strands on each side of her unseen face. When she moved, it was as if she was propelled forward by her twirling winds. It was odd when she spoke. I heard no words. Instead, my heart, my lungs, my ears, my brain, my hands became fully aware of every atom, of every photon passing through this hurricane woman. I didn't know the science, but I knew the feeling. It was immeasurable heat. It was every human emotion. It was the cry of a child, the smile of an elder, the awareness of one's blood entering and exiting the heart. The eye of the storm and I her chaser. She was steadfast in where she stood, yet I saw pieces of her spread throughout the room we occupied. Silently, I asked her why she had come. Her answer came in a feeling I know well. Where else was I to go? A flickering light, eyes clear without glasses, rose lights, the sensuality of a drop of rain. Thank you.
Hello. For those who do not know me, my name is Sarah Bean, and Ryleigh has been my best friend since 2015. Oh no. Ugh. Ryleigh and I were not the type of people to leave things unsaid. The longest we have ever gone without speaking before this point was a matter of weeks, when she was on a retreat and did not have access to her phone. Other than that, for 8 years, we shared with each other our every thought. I feel true comfort in knowing that she already knows everything I'm going to say at her funeral. and that for our entire relationship she would. That every birthday card, letter, or sappy text message was full of the love and adoration that I felt for her, and vice versa. With that being said, I would like to share with her this letter. I hope she's okay with hearing it all one more time. Ryleigh, it is a magical thing to find your person so early. From the moment we sat next to each other in our 10th grade English class, I think we both knew it wasn't the first time our souls had met. One of my first memories of us is making each other laugh. I think I laughed first, and then you laughed, or maybe you did, and then I did, but regardless, although we didn't really know each other yet, this is the first instance of us becoming one. Often it is hard to tell where you start and I end. Loving you and being loved by you is the most natural thing. Anyone who has ever been in your orbit knows this. More natural than breathing, than walking, than blinking. Loving you has lived in my bones for longer than I have lived in this body. And what an incredible thing to love and be loved so easily, so freely, so without strings or attachments or judgments, just love. Much like everyone you have ever crossed paths with, I am a changed person because I knew you. I aspire to treat everyone and everything the way you did, with reckless hope and sincerity, to take up space and to belong very deeply to myself. I was so lost before the universe brought you to me, and for 8 years I finally felt found. In the days after losing you, I turned to poetry, as I often do, and discovered the work of Ryleigh. So I'd like to finally share with you the piece that made me think of us the most. This is What I Didn't Know Before by Ryleigh. What I didn't know before was that horses simply give birth to other horses. Not a baby by any means, not a creature of liminal spaces, but already a four-legged beast hell-bent on walking, scrambling after the mother. A horse gives way to another horse, and then suddenly there are two horses, just like that. That's how I loved you. You off the long train from Red Bank, carrying a coffee as big as your arm, a bag with 2 computers swinging in it unwieldy at your side. I remember we broke into laughter when we saw each other. What was between us wasn't a fragile thing to be coddled or cooed over. It came out fully formed, ready to run. I hope that you feel safe wherever you are, that there are vegan crunch wraps galore, and that every animal you have ever loved is snuggled up next to you. If you don't mind me quoting you, I love you in a way I've never loved before. Whatever I did to deserve you, I'm glad I did it. I'll see you in the next one. Yours always and forever, Sarah. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name's Tom. It's great to see everyone. I kind of just tunnel vision to my seat as soon as I got here. Believe it or not, this is not easy. Yeah, I was really close with Ryleigh in high school, and I was so lucky to be around her and her family. Grade 12 was a really rough year for me, and I leaned on them a lot. So much I just got my high school diploma back from them in January. I didn't need it, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to share some stories about how important Ryleigh was, not just to me, but to my friends and what we're doing now. I remember one of the last things that we filmed together, David and I were shooting a music video at this party, and not a good idea to go shoot a music video at a party, everyone's partying, but we had Ryleigh in this paper mache frog head that we made. And it was hot, and it was a long party and a lot of drunk people, but Ryleigh took it seriously. She really cared about what we were trying to do, even if everyone around us was just caring about the party. Ryleigh cared about like what we were trying to do, and that's something about Ryleigh that I'm never gonna forget. Is that she really, when she did something, she really cared. I think back to like when we were doing Romeo and Juliet, and one time I was picking her up and I picked her up late, we were at rehearsal late, and I'll tell you, I never did that again. Oh my God. In our directing class, she's an absolute leader. Her directing book was better than anyone here. Her directing book was more love was there. And beyond that, she really cared about the kids that she worked with. She was really passionate about teaching kids and learning from kids at the same time, and just putting everything that she could into those kids. And those kids are out there doing arts now. And I think that's really important. Yeah, Ryleigh was someone who really cared about a lot of people. And when she loved you, you knew it. And I think we all can feel that today. Thank you.
Hi everyone. For anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Quinn. Ryleigh and I met in high school, and she has been my best friend since. I have spent the last 9 months trying to say goodbye to her, but I realized that this is not goodbye, but see you later. Shortly after Ryleigh passed, I spoke with Natalie, one of our acting teachers from school, and she posed the question, did Ryleigh know she was loved? If I could see everyone gathered here today to celebrate her, there is no doubt that she is loved. I didn't think I would learn more about Ryleigh after she died, but somehow this was the case. The most profound thing I have learned about Ryleigh is her ability to make friends with anyone and everyone. I have spoken with many of her friends and family, and my favorite part was hearing what connected these individuals to her. Every one of her relationships was special. Her love was so vast, and she had a way of connecting with everyone. Each friendship and relationship with Ryleigh was unique. Each person felt loved by her in their own way. She made you feel like you mattered and were loved. One of my best memories of Ryleigh was right before my 21st birthday. I planned a rock climbing trip to Las Vegas and invited her, but due to scheduling conflicts, she couldn't attend. Now, up until this point, which is about 5 or 6 years of friendship, she had never given me a gift, and I had never given her one either, and that was perfectly fine with both of us. A few days before I left for my trip, I got an urgent message from Ryleigh begging for us to meet up. She gave no other context and stressed that she had to see me before I left. I became slightly concerned, and we met up the next day. She then proudly handed me a gift bag. I asked if I should wait until my birthday, but she demanded I open it that second. And inside the bag, I find this. For those of you who can't see it on my sweater, it is a little faded now. This is a Photoshop Ryleigh original. I wore it every night of my trip, and I would also like to point out some key design features, because I think if I didn't, she would be mad at me. First, on the right-hand side, kind of behind the cat head, there is Ryleigh's face in the stars, because as she put it, she wanted to be included on my trip, and she didn't want to feel left out. Second, she also gave me a Guy Fieri tattoo. You can't really make out up there, but there is a Guy Fieri tattoo she added to my hand because her love for him was too important to leave out. I then posed with every Guy Fieri billboard and sign I found in Vegas and sent her the photos. I've always struggled to be vulnerable with people, and in the face of adversity, I try to remain strong and provide stability and support to those who need it. But Ryleigh was one of the few people in my life that I could turn to and let it all go. She stood by me in my worst moments and pulled me up from my saddest and murkiest days. I love that no matter how far apart we lived or how many days we'd gone without talking, we could pick up right where we left off. We joked that we needed to start making life update slideshows for each other. I will not get to experience life with Ryleigh in the ways I imagined. No more late night drives or speed dialing her anytime I want anymore. But she is still with me every step of the way. She will, and forever and always, be my bitch. Before I wrap up, I do want to pass on my most enormous heartfelt thanks to Shauna. She's been such a wonderful person through this trauma and grieving, and I don't think I could have gotten through this without her. She was such an incredible mom to Ryleigh, and I hope you know how much she loved you. You raised an incredible kid who lived her life with her heart first. Thank you.
For those of you that don't know me and Ryleigh were good friends. I'm David Maddow, by the way. The first time I met Ryleigh was in Math 10C. I'll go to failing 3 times. The first time was definitely because this pretty blonde girl was talking to me the whole time. Well, we eventually became really close friends, and someone that I could talk to about anything at any time, whenever I wanted. Like, you could go months without texting her, and as soon as you text her, she'd respond within a couple hours. She had the time. Being friends with Ryleigh is a rare thing because it sounds almost cliche at someone's celebration of life to be like, oh, they were amazing, they were beautiful, but like, she genuinely was. She was the purest person that I've known. And where I come from saying that is, Vic was a small school, but there was a lot of different groups. And Ryleigh was able to be friends with almost everybody and to touch almost everybody. There's some people that couldn't make it here that I know would love to be here, you know, that some of us wouldn't even know she's friends with, because that's how she was. Another thing I loved about Ryleigh, from actor to another actor, is she was incredibly raw. I'm sorry, you can notice I have a problem with talking about her past tense, because I don't think she's really gone. She was just raw with everybody in her character, within acting, with her friendships, relationships, her familial relationships. She was present. One thing that I remember is talking to her on the phone. It was really confusing sometimes, because I'm like, are you like still there on the other end? And the reason why is because she'd just be listening to you. Just purely listening. So I'd rant about something and I'd think, oh, it's so annoying, and she would, you know, bring up all the points that I brought up, why some of them are valid, what I should work on. She was 16. But she was really there for you. And another cool thing about Ryleigh is there's so many different versions of her that I've seen throughout my life and through other people, but 3 things always remain the same. She was silly, she was very thoughtful, and extremely patient. When I look back on our friendship, I genuinely cannot think of one time she was ever upset with me, or ever even expressed it. Disappointed, yes. But never upset, never angry. The times that I loved spending with her the most were on the acreage, and those of you today, if you didn't know her family, you can tell she was raised with by some of the loveliest people I've ever got to meet. That acreage was something that I have dreams about now, is something I have dreams about now. One day in particular that I consider the most Ryleigh day was I showed up, we didn't know what to do with ourselves on the acreage. Maybe watch a little bit of Netflix, make some food. And then she was like, you know I have horses, right? The thing about me that a lot of people don't know is before I moved to Alberta, I was trained in horseback riding for a couple of years. It's a very weird thing to tell people. They're like, really? But Ryleigh thought it was pretty cool. And she and Hank helped me tackle a horse, and we both rode it the whole afternoon. And why I say it was such a Ryleigh day is because the sun was out, it was really bright, and one of the last images I have on that day of her is her ahead of me, with the sun just in the distance. It almost looked like she's riding off in the sunset. And that wasn't the last time I saw her, but that's the last thing I want to think of her when I visualize her in my head. Before I end this, the last time I really felt her presence it was very interesting, especially with Shauna speaking about the animals and the numbers, because you're totally right. Me, Evan, and Tom had just heard the news, and Tom just got back in from Toronto. So we decided to go to Evan's studio and talk about her and how painful this was. We go down to Kinsman Park, and Evan has a little marker, there's a dumpster, and he writes on there, Ryleigh forever. And I don't know how to describe it perfectly, but we turn around, I think I was the first one to notice it, but I see the most jarring thing. A buck and a doe standing no more than 2 feet away from us, staring at us. I don't remember the time of the year, but it was a little weird in Kinsman Park to see a buck and a doe together. They stare at us really hard, and we're quietly, Evan, Tom. They look, and there's this silence. The deer continues to stare at us, and then the buck leads the way and just walks off into the woods, but the doe stays for a bit. And she doesn't saunter off, she doesn't run off, she just calmly walks off. And I feel like that was Ryleigh's way of saying, hey guys, I'm still here, it's all good. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I am Jillian. I met Ryleigh in our last year of high school, and I had the pleasure of living with her in Toronto these last few years. To know Ryleigh is to know a profound magic. She could see it in the most insignificant occurrences, simply by observing the world around her. Wise beyond her years, Ryleigh showed me how to find the light in the darkest of times, to appreciate the universe as an abstract artist, finding beauty in dirty cities, back alleyways, and forgotten places. Simple walks became the greatest of adventures. She taught me to see with eyes shut and an open heart, searching life not for purpose, but with purpose. She is my favorite person to sit in silence with, never needing to fill space with words and always leaving understood. Many of her greatest gifts came to me in these quiet, peaceful moments. When she spoke, you listened closely, knowing that even the silliest of expressions were golden. To know Ryleigh is to know the artist. In everything she does, you can find a commitment to excellence and a delicate touch. Her visual expressions were profound and made simplicity a virtue. Her vision will always inspire me. Moving forward, Ryleigh would want us to hold space for the darkest of emotions we may be feeling. She wouldn't want us to shy away from these trials. Instead, she would encourage us to move through them with compassion and grace until we can see the light, even just a flicker. She is with us when we walk barefoot through fields of grass. She is with us when we enjoy the tranquility of a rainy day. She is with us, especially in those dark moments where uncertainty fills the body and mind. She would ask us to hold space for her in every creative endeavor, and to look for her in those quiet moments when we miss her most. Thank you.
I'm a friend of Ryleigh's. My name's Anne. And I'm awful at words, so I'm just singing stuff. Last show that I did with Ryleigh was West Side Story, so this is someone. There's a place for us, somewhere a place for us, peace and quiet and open air, wait for us somewhere. There's a time for us, Sunday time for us, time together with time to spare, time to learn, time to care. Someday, somewhere, we'll find a new way of living. We'll find a way of forgiving somewhere. There's a place for us, a time and place for us. Hold my hand, and we're halfway there. Hold my hand, and I'll take you there. Someday, somewhere,
Thank you, Aaron, and to all of your friends, all of the friends and family. Such a beautiful sentiment and a reminder of the journey that so many of us took with Ryleigh. One of the enduring themes of the song, it seems, lives in the genuine belief that each new tomorrow brings with it hope and possibility. And to me, this speaks of legacy, and we've heard, without ever saying that word, we've heard legacy this afternoon. It's that which we invest in today that makes possible something somewhere down the line. And part of Ryleigh's legacy, as it is ever so clear, lay in her ability to build relationships with almost everyone she met. Relationships that created a lasting imprint. And as Shauna mentioned, Ryleigh's last employer, Penguin Pickup, are entrepreneurs with a bias for action, and they love Ryleigh. As a company, they pride themselves in taking risks, celebrating inclusivity, and valuing diversity in all that they work with. Why wouldn't they love Ryleigh? To honor Ryleigh's legacy, here's a brief video of Penguin Pickup's acting president Brad Baker and manager John Rodeveld sharing a special announcement with their staff team.
We were part of a project where we had 3 stores in Oxford malls across the country. Yorkville is for one, we just talked now back in business. It was a hard thing to do over those stores. So we need someone really special. When you look at these stores for Christmas, we're going to be like, we're going to do these things like 3 weeks back. Remember, I don't have to hire people, doing the scramble and figure out where to fit them out, what kind of cameras. Like, it was kind of a mess to be honest. And we asked Ryleigh to lead afterwards. And I always remember the way she got in to do that work. And I always remember her poise on me. Someone that would be much older and more experienced than her. I'll remember her back in on call at that option time with us and Jack. And that's how easy calls to be on. And Jack asked me questions, and I would just sit there with straight shoulders and answer questions. So we used it especially, and after that, when I get that out in the park, there's something what else can we get this young lady to do? We asked Ryleigh to take the role, where she can do implementation, innovation for us, and she did such a great job kicking off what now is really exploring itself as an ice team and roll its sleeves through it, she really shaped and developed that. And in 2022 was a hard year for different reasons. She had to take some time away from work. We all miss her, but she's away from the business. We stayed in touch with her, John especially, and you guys did too. I know some of you spent time with Ryleigh last summer, doing Karen's sessions, after parties, you guys get to see her, spend some time with her. These are some pictures that I think they really capture a lot of what Ryleigh was. Ryleigh loved theater, and she loved violence. She's from Alberta. She came to Ontario to pursue things of her interests like that. She loved being someone who saw the world through kind of eyes that were different than we did. She was someone who didn't care about dyeing her hair purple and her eyebrow pink, because she loved. She could always want it. She was someone who laughed a lot. You see this picture of her, Lucia, and that smile is so awesome. You see this picture of her smiling in the face of it. She probably loved John with Dungeons and Dragons books and that crazy stuff. You see a picture of her, a really village store, Lucia, talking to associates and training associates. So I look at these pictures and they capture to me so much about Ryleigh and so many things to remember about her and see the reason why I loved her and we cared so much about her. That was a really hard thing for us all to go through. And really, I think as group supervisors, I'm sure some of these associates in this room, not a lot of time and days by that we don't think about how many times we get productively talk about her. I'm really, really pleased to tell you today that Penguin Pickup is proud to provide what we're going to call the Ryleigh Project Award Scholarship. And that would be a scholarship, and we're going to give out to a student who is pursuing arts or theater and pursuing things that they love that are the same things that Ryleigh loves. And all you guys are going to agree with everybody else that she's the type that would give you a good moment. And sometimes a good moment, a good interaction can change your day. And sometimes a good day can change every life. And I think she changed a lot of days. I think she changed a lot of lives. So we want to find people who
So Shauna tells us that actually the first recipient was announced yesterday, and this will be an annual award that will keep her spirit and her love of theater and the arts alive for, as has been said, the next generation, the younger kids that she always loved to inspire. The following are Ryleigh's words. My life is what I am deciding, not settling. Own the life you have. Be humble. My life, my joy in life relies on my ability to learn and grow. It always has. If you give your all to a project, if you can give your all to a project, why wouldn't you? I am everywhere and accepting of that. I'm just going to underscore that those were Ryleigh's words at 17 and 18. When Shauna first asked if Tammy and I might offer support and bring our voices to this day, my mind and heart knew that to do so, we would need to hear Ryleigh's voice as well. And I knew exactly where I could find Ryleigh hanging out. And I asked Shauna for permission to revisit the journal that Ryleigh had held precious when so many of us last hung out together in room 130 or 1436, or in a circle on the deck of the Evo Howard Theatre. And this particular process journal was where Ryleigh, as so many other Vic Theatre students before and after, captured the vital learning and living journey of a senior level course, Directing 35. As I sat and reread page by page, word by word, scribble by scribble, I realized that every marking revealed a deep intentionality to let nothing of what was taking place in the classroom or rehearsal hall pass her by without reflection. And I knew that this was Ryleigh in her fullest being, from reveling in the moments of blissful discovery to tumbling into the whimsical unpredictability that could only result from slipping on a red rose. From her in-the-bones feeling of the power of her storytelling to the lost in the woods fear of feeling creatively stuck, and back to her in the heart joy that comes from creation. It was all there. As a student of theater and of life, Ryleigh was somehow willing to dive deeply into herself and find the mirrors that most of us, and perhaps especially teenagers, might not comfortably wish to look into. The intensity of this reflection, however, was matched by the incredible learning experience, and again, in her words, my joy in life relies on my ability to learn and grow. The final formal act of Directing 35 was to compose a reflective narrative of the journey of leadership, collaboration, and creation. But I never received that. And then I read this on the second to last page of her book, and I realized I had thoughts and trepidations about writing down my thoughts and trepidations. I'm scared to go back in time to relive all that I've experienced, not because I don't want to remember all the joyful moments and discoveries, but because I know my instinct to get stuck in the context of a moment instead of just embracing the moment itself. And then this to conclude, and perhaps to resonate as yet another perfect poetic author, she writes, "We invited a new world to Eva, and she welcomed us with open arms." Take a breath and say, I first met Ryleigh in the spring of 2014 when she and Shauna arrived outside of that same room to audition for placement in an advanced acting And I do remember how badly you were wanting her to be successful and how serious I was when I said she's in. Within moments, it was clear that Ryleigh had arrived in the exact place she wanted and needed to be. The intensity of her focus in that 30 minutes, her commitment to every choice, her deep desire to feel at home in a room that would become a second home to her. And in September, when she arrived, it was with the same blend of passion and compassion. A calling card that, as you've heard, endeared her to others, who were beginning to form the powerful and creative ensemble that would move together in learning for the next 3 years. Ryleigh was remarkable at how she led with and modeled vulnerability, often acknowledging how terrifying it was to do so. I'm not sure she was capable of any other way. She was an incredible observer, and as we've heard, listener, drawing on this as raw material that would find its way into her poetry. As a student of life, her life, she sought out feedback as if it were edited, never satisfied with sampling. Ryleigh Her intuitive prowess allowed her to know how to love and be loved in the community of big personalities. She arrived at the school wanting to make a difference in everything she created, and boy, oh boy, did she work overtime to do great work. And yet, over the course of 3 short years, she came to really understand that what was possible when she shifted from the need to make things happen to allow the space for them to do so. Again, her journal offers this when she wrote, "Clouding to me is the most freedom available to us. Coming to you, stripped down, freedom." Ryleigh set exceedingly high standards for herself and gradually came to a place of comfort in the realization that it wasn't even possible or much more desirable to always get it right the first time. And to her credit, she seemed undeterred by having to try another approach or come at a problem from another angle. In fact, she tried that. When she stepped into that role of leader in grade 12, she chose to build an ensemble of peers ranging in age and experience to simultaneously provide inspiration and mentorship across her community. The text she chose demanded so much more than interpretation. It invited all involved into a collaborative exercise in imagining and designing a shared process and accountability. Nothing could have been more aligned to her values, purpose, and passion. And when she reflected upon that April night of 2017, when the lights went down on her play, it wasn't about the art or great performances or a standing ovation. Her success criteria was fulfilled in knowing that she simply created a moment of joy in the lives of others. We began this afternoon with the image of a heartbeat, life force and love force. And to Ryleigh and her theater friends, as I said, it was also the vital rhythm through which actors channel the immense power of Shakespeare's language. In the hands of a master poet, the I am of the iambic structure hid the treasure in plain view, and for a treasure seeker like Ryleigh, it offered her endless joy in the unlocking of the mystery of the workers of love. And so when I turned the page mid-journal to discover an untitled poem composed in her handwriting and dated June 3rd, 2017, my own heart skipped a beat, and my breath moved to tears. For again, she's bringing me back. She writes,
I will remember most vividly the beat of my heart. I am, I am, I am. Backstage, holding my cold hands to my neck, searching for the pulse my chest won't let me forget. I am bound. I clutch, hoping that the feeling will awaken some sort of reminder that my existence is true and more than I am. I am. I step on stage and I find that I am not. I am filled with a sense of new living, a way of new breathing. We are. I will remember most vividly the beat of my heart. I am. The rough touch of the red fabric as we settle in under the rainbow stars, waiting for the magic to begin. I am. A joy greater than description fills my veins as I watch a clown and a swan fall into a game of imitation. I am ecstatic. I am so happy. And as I look sideways to my heart's Father and forward to my soul's children, I am filled with the answer. I am.
And as we move to close, we hear Ryleigh's Lies the Waste One's Mark. And while these thoughts were originally composed as guidelines for leading a creative process, let's hear them now as Ryleigh's guidelines for living, and cherish them as yet another of her heart's gifts to us here today. In that little journal she wrote, take care of this process. Take care of the way you have decided to approach it. Decide for yourself right now what is important. Your energy cannot be everywhere. Keep it safe. Remember that safety is not silence. It is not laying in wait. It is jumping. It is being vulnerable so you may learn and grow. Remember the importance this held for you. And remember it in every moment.
With tears and laughter, with music and hope, we have gathered to mark death and to celebrate life. Gratitude and sorrow are interwoven as we acknowledge the changes her death is bringing to those who loved her. So as we release ourselves from this moment, hear your heartbeat. Feel her heartbeat within your heartbeat. Feel the presence of her energy living within us. And let's take a deep, deep, deep breath together. Ryleigh's family is so grateful to have you here. The energy that you brought into this space has been full of love and gratitude. And we also acknowledge the continuum that we are each on as we continue on that journey of loss and grief. So please know that your presence continues to be really welcomed in this space as we share some refreshments and we have an opportunity to continue to share the stories, the laughter, and those tears. But please really know that your presence here today has meant a great deal to everyone present today. Whether you are online or you're currently in this